Welcome back to Let's Talk. We've been discussing some common pitfalls where we misunderstand others' motives or behaviors. Another important pitfall is when we make assumptions about the other person's emotional abilities. Whether we realize it or not, we typically judge other people's abilities to be approximately the same as our own, or we judge their abilities against what we view in our society as the norm for emotional abilities. In other words, we end up thinking to ourselves, she knows better, or he knows what he's doing. And then we often add another layer of judgment. She's such a blank, right? Now again, at the outward superficial level, the behavior is indeed negative. But be careful about assuming motive or about the value or characteristics or abilities of that person. Some people can dunk a basketball, others can't. We don't have much difficulty accepting limitations on physical characteristics like dunking, but we tend to have more trouble applying that idea to people's emotional abilities. We often don't stop to consider that that person, at least in this season of their lives, may not have the tools or ability to react appropriately to this situation. It doesn't really matter whether we think we do better or that someone thinks that they should do better. We still need to consider that this is just where they're at right now. Now, this can get very complicated. For example, we might see that someone acts fine 1 minute and then explode the next. Our assumption then is that their temper must be under their control. They were fine a minute ago, why aren't they now? I'm able to keep myself under control, they must be able to also. Well, these are dangerous assumptions. They're laden with so much judgment and negativity, they just aren't helpful. I know it's extremely difficult, but try to remember what we said about dunking the basketball. Some things are just beyond the limits of people. It's just far more subtle when we apply that idea to their emotions. I know this is hard, but I know you can do it. Let me give you an example. If your 4-year-old yelled at you, "I hate you," after you gave him a timeout, that might hurt, but you're able to quickly make a judgment that what a toddler says during a tantrum is not something we have to take personally, or that is truly under their full control. So indeed, you're able to put behavior into its developmental and situational context. We have an easier time doing this with things like a toddler, and we have a harder time doing it with most adults. So if your adult sister screams at you, "I hate you," you'll likely have a far harder time staying calm and not taking this personally, as if your 4-year-old son had done it. But nevertheless, to judge it and to take it personally doesn't serve either of you. I don't mean that you have to withstand abuse, of course, but in order to try to help reach out and understand this person's pain, it helps to remember that although we judge things to be under their control, at least at some level, they often are not. We simply are not all blessed with the same ability to use emotional intelligence. Some people are simply more gifted at it than others. You can be grateful that you were blessed with your own emotional intelligence that you're here using to help others. Just be careful not to just judge someone else's behavior against how you think you would behave in that situation, but instead realize the value of understanding where that person is coming from and what limits they might have, and that underlying all of that pain is a desire for connection and for love. So please give that some thought, comment below, and let's talk.